Hello and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're really looking forward to hearing from you, hearing your questions, and so many questions I think on the subjects we're going to be covering today. So I'm Julie Robinson, founder of MenoHealth, and I'm joined by Wizz Selvey today from We Are Valerie, and we're really excited to be talking about all the things that we get asked all the time. So we'll just give it a few moments to get more people in. And I've popped a question in the chat. It says, how do you rate your menopause knowledge? Are you an absolute beginner and you're down 1, 2, 3, or do you know lots? Are you verging on being an expert? Are you on the 8, 9s and 10s? Just pop it in. It's just for fun and it'll give us an indication as to where you're at in your journey and how much you know. Whatever you are, there's always room for more knowledge, more empowerment. Oh, here we go, 5, 7s, 9, we've got 4s, yep. That's excellent. Thank you so much for popping this in. It's really good to see. The more I learn, the less I feel I know. Yeah, that's really part of that learning curve, isn't it? For sure, yeah. So we are recording this session and you will get sent this along with any links, so that if you do have to leave or you've got colleagues or friends that you want to share it with, then you will receive all of that information. You can pop your questions in the chat box as well as we go, so please do. Brilliant. Right, we're going to get started. So you might be eating your lunch and listening in. It's World Menopause Day this weekend. It's Menopause Awareness Month through October. The perfect time to talk about this topic, which is affecting all of us, whether we're experiencing or not, or those around us are, whether it's at home, whether it's in the workplace. So that question, the more I learn, the less I know, I think is really interesting, because suddenly we are talking about it more, a lot more than when we started MenoHealth in 2018. You can actually get even more confused. And what we want is to talk to Wizz Selvey today of We Are Valerie, to try and just find our way forward and clear things out, so that we know what to do, and also just get some proper practical tips. So Wizz, welcome. Tell us who you are.
Thank you. Yeah, my name's Wiz. I'm co-founder of a brand called Valerie, and we are focused on supplements for perimenopause specifically. So yeah, we created the brand because we saw, obviously there's a massive growth of knowledge and awareness of menopause, which is brilliant, but there's still still a big gap of understanding of what menopause even is, but even more so of what perimenopause is. And it was certainly my own personal experience of being kind of 37, 38 when I look back, that really took me about 4 years to work out what was actually going on with my body, and thought it was burnout or long COVID. And this is a consistent theme I hear from women all the time, that it takes them 3 to 5 years to put the pieces of the puzzle together, to work out what's going on. They know something's not right, and they go down potentially lots of different doctor's appointments, feeling very frustrated, and very confused, and don't really know where to turn. So we really want to educate more people about what's happening, how early it can start as well. And I mean, I used to say it was early perimenopause at 38, but really it's not. It's just when your hormones can start changing, and it can be kind of between 4 and 12 years before menopause. So actually, if I go through menopause at the same age as my mother, I'll be 51, and so actually being late 30s is kind of quite normal. So yeah, it's really normalizing that conversation and helping people understand what the symptoms are, and yeah, what support can be given to them as they go through this transition, and also kind of prepare for this phase of life.
Absolutely. And I think that's a good place to start because we are going to cover lots of things. We have a real blast through loads of stuff. We need to start off with just what you said. Well, how are you spotting those symptoms and what is normal?
Yeah, I mean, there is no normal, and everyone is unique and beautiful in that way. But there's so many different symptoms of perimenopause, and I think a lot of people associate kind of hot flashes and irregular periods. And if they're not having hot flashes and their periods are still regular, people think, well, it's not perimenopause. This isn't happening to me. But actually, there's so many other things that can be happening. And the most common ones that I kind of experience myself, but I hear a lot from kind of our customers and people in our community, is kind of this feeling of just not feeling themselves anymore, and increasing anxiety, not being able to handle stress as well, um, mood changes. So obviously, as a woman, we have 4 weekly cycle anyway, but actually some of that kind of PMT can start to get worse. So yeah, or kind of just feeling like they're just crying at really random things and not really understanding why. So yeah, and also kind of that cognitive function as well. So things like brain fog, yeah, forgetting things, thinking, well, I used to be quite on it, and just now I just suddenly things are just like gone out of my head. So they're all quite subtle, and just people can then put them down to other things or kind of stress and other things going on in their lives. And yeah, but there's definitely some of the early things that I hear a lot about, and also kind of really extreme fatigue. So just being totally exhausted. And again, for me personally, I just couldn't get through the day without having a nap, which was, I mean, I was working from home, but it was really impacting my work, my social life. I just didn't have the energy. Yeah, before I kind of started looking at supplementation and kind of what I could do to kind of naturally build my energy up as well.
Mm.
So yeah, it's lots of subtle things that creep up.
A creep up is exactly right. I mean, it was different for me because I had a surgical menopause, so it's a lot more extreme. However, I do think, knowing from all of the support talks and groups that we help people in the workplace, I think the anxiety and this sudden loss of confidence, the stress levels that just seem to rocket, and the lack of sleep are massively impactful on your life, your work, your relationship, your health. And so that's when I think you start, and I know I certainly was going and having all sorts of tests. There must be something wrong here, not recognizing what was happening. But when do you actually need to go and seek help? Is it just, we can all do our Google search, can't we? But when do you think you've got the red flags to say, right, I've got to find out more?
Yeah, I think, and again, there isn't always this kind of one test that's going to give us all the answers as well. You can have the doctor will do a test which will be your FSH levels, but that declines once you've gone through menopause. So actually, this peri stage, the best way really is tracking your symptoms.
Yeah.
So kind of I always recommend to like keep a little notebook by your bed or kind of notes in your phone and start to track the symptoms you have. Because actually, if you want to go to the doctor and talk to them about it, you really need to be advocating for yourself as well, and kind of going and presenting, particularly when you're in peri, and particularly if you're under 45, because yeah, doctors are saying actually that's too early, when actually it's not for a lot of women. So there's a lot of, I suppose, education that needs to be happening, yeah, in the healthcare system, but also just with the general public and
Mhm.
people understanding that how early those changes can start as well.
Hmm. And I mean, occasionally, of course, there is something other than or as well as
Yeah,
perimenopause. Um, I mean, goodness me, there's so many people that I've heard who have found that they, along with perimenopause, have got an iron deficiency or B12
yeah,
or vitamin D. These sort of things, which the doctor can actually test for, can't they? And
yeah.
that's nice to sort of rule some things out and then think, okay, and looking at that underlying. But it's so important that we empower ourselves and take that control. So what are your top tips if you are going to go and see if you can get an appointment to go and see your GP?
Yeah, so I think if you're booking an appointment, ask to see someone who specialises in female hormone health or peri or menopause. And that could be your doctor, but it could also be a practice nurse as well.
Yeah.
I think that's really important to have someone that specialises in that, because there isn't a huge amount of training on menopause in general practice unless people specialise in it. So that's my number one tip. Also ask for a double appointment if you've got lots of different things that you want to be talking about as well. And yes, the doctor should be kind of running some tests to eliminate things as well. And like you say, those some of those kind of really key things like B12, iron, vitamin D can really, really impact your energy levels. And kind of that's why we have 3 of those ingredients are in kind of our main product, Daily Essential, as well, because it can really help boost your energy levels.
Mhm.
And yeah, and then when you're there as well, I think that's going back to tracking your symptoms. Kind of take a list with you, so you can remember what's been happening. It's very easy to like then go into those appointments and then kind of not remember everything. So going prepared, and again advocating for yourself as well. So I mean, my personal experience of kind of going to the doctor, it was many appointments before I even kind of realised it was perimenopause. It was only then when I could advocate for myself, knowing what it was. And I said, look, I've had 19 symptoms. So I know this is perimenopause.
Mm.
And yeah, that was the way that kind of I could then have that conversation and I suppose, yeah, been taken seriously.
Yeah. I know that with the NICE guidelines,
Mm,
we have actually said it's good to acquaint yourself with those. You don't have to be a doctor to look on the NICE website.
yeah.
And it really is great when you read about what the doctor should be doing, and maybe gives you a little more confidence to have the conversation. Because I feel that when you're so vulnerable yourself, if you're particularly having these mood swings and your emotions are very sensitive, that you walk in, burst into tears when they say, "How can I help you?" And there's too much to say, and then you go out with some antidepressants. So, it
Mm.
is that kind of control of, if I've tracked my symptoms, I can go in with my list, I've got long enough to actually talk, and not to be feeling that you would be fobbed off. For example, if you want to have HRT, now whether or not you have HRT, there's so many other things we can do, which we're going to go into soon. But let's talk about HRT. It is still a little bit contentious. There's a lot of misinformation, and of course, it's a bit of a postcode lottery. But what's your sort of common sense take on HRT for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely you need to take into account kind of risk factors, but I mean, I'm a big advocate for it. I think it's great, and it's a woman's choice, and we have lots of people in our community that just want to kind of go down a natural route and kind of with supplementation, and we have lots of people that are on HRT, and and our product works really well with HRT. So it's not necessarily one or the other. You need to be doing lots of different things and looking at lots of areas of your life, as well as food and exercise and yeah, mindfulness and yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
boundaries and all sorts of things. So
Uh-huh. And with your HRT, do you think um, that we have enough information to go in making an informed decision about what to do with HRT?
I think uh, I think it's still well. There's been like you said, there's been so much scaremongering over the years, which I think is a real shame. But I think there's a lot of more positives news that's coming out about it.
Mm,
And yeah, I think it's completely up to the individual as well and how they feel about it. And
yeah,
yeah, and again, I think a lot of women think, oh, I don't want to take HRT, and then they get to a certain point where they're like, no, actually, I feel like I really do need it now, or I want it now,
yeah.
depending how they feel. So I think that decision sometimes changes for people as well, which is also okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with the scaremongering, I mean, for me, when
Yeah.
because obviously I'm much older than probably anybody else listening in, that when I was first told you can't have HRT, because there's a risk of breast cancer. And I just
Mm.
totally believe that and didn't have it for years and years. So having a hysterectomy at 36 and then starting on estrogen gel at the grand age of 58. And that was for my bones, not for
Yeah.
symptoms at that time, because I was diagnosed with osteoporosis. And it makes me really, quite cross to think that I missed out on a golden opportunity, having had an early menopause where that
Mm.
HRT would have been a game changer for me. And now, despite me doing all the jumping up and down to keep my bones strong and all the calcium, etc., it's a long-term health condition, and menopause affects our future health. And that's why I think these kind of talks are so important. If we can just get someone to find out a little bit more and take some action. And because osteoporosis, well, 1 in 2 women over 50 will have an osteoporotic fracture. That's how common it is. And yet we don't
Mm.
get told HRT is a real bone protector while you take it.
Yeah.
And of course, that there is an infographic from Women's Health Concern that shows now really clearly that there is always a risk with medication, but it's risks versus benefits. So
Yeah.
for every 1,000 women that take combined HRT, estrogen, progesterone, then there's 4 additional cases of breast cancer. But that's exactly the same as the contraceptive pill. And that's where you think, well, nobody ever talked to me about that with when I was going on the pill all those
Yeah.
years ago. But and thanks to Beth for in the background in the chat putting the links to the NICE guidelines and also the HRT risks versus benefits. It's totally unique to you, your health, your age, your past medical conditions. But I just think we need to have the facts, don't we? And then we go in and make an informed decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's again, everyone's unique and has got a different experience and yeah, needs as well. So yeah, and again, same as perimenopause and symptoms, it changes over time.
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
not you're going to get these symptoms, then that's it. It's yeah, it constantly evolves. Some go away, some new ones come in. It's yeah,
Indeed,
keeps you on your
indeed.
toes.
Yep, yep. I know someone's just asked what I'm on. It's actually estrogel, so it's just the gel. I couldn't believe that at 58 I had osteoporosis. 2 years later, after simply putting 1 pump, 2 pumps a day of estrogel, 2 years later my DEXA scan, I'd gone to osteopenia. And you think, wow, that's actually rubbing that on my skin after a shower in the morning has improved my bone density. That's incredible. So, yeah,
Mm,
but I can just have estrogen because I haven't got a womb. So, again,
yeah,
that's why you've got to have this one-to-one conversation, haven't you, with a medical professional.
yeah, absolutely.
But holistically, we've mentioned whether or not you're on HRT, what other things should we be focusing on?
Yeah, I mean, health, nutrition, lifestyle, all of those things. I mean, I mean, we all know we should be healthy, I think, don't we? But it all becomes so much more obvious where we're not, I think, in
Yeah,
perimenopause and can really, really impact symptoms as well. So yeah, it's making sure that yeah, having a very, I suppose, the food you eat is, I think, so important. And I think a big challenge that I see in a lot of kind of women in our community that we talk to is it can be a stage of life where people start to put on a bit more weight, so they start to do restrictive eating. We've obviously kind of got a big boom of kind of GLP-1 as well. Um, and then people getting all the necessary nutrients and vitamins and minerals that they need from their food. So, and it can be a challenge, even if you do eat healthily, just being busy lifestyle to get everything you need. I mean, it'd be a dream if we could all have 3 amazing home cooked, nice, healthy meals every day.
absolutely.
But it's a full-time
Absolutely.
job preparing all of that.
Yeah, for sure. And what about stress relief? Because I think
Mm,
it often coincides with our stage in life where we are suddenly being pulled in every
yeah.
direction from everybody, whether it is work, family, children, grown-up children, parents, our health, where you are at work, trying to juggle everything. So it's no wonder that stress goes up. But
Mm.
what sort of things do you think can be beneficial to help us with that?
Yeah, again, it's really important as your progesterone starts to drop, kind of that ability to handle stress kind of drops as well. And obviously, we all know about cortisol and the impact of that, which then impacts all the other hormones going on in our body, which it's all so intricately kind of connected. So yeah, I think it's working out what are the right mindfulness techniques for you. So I mean, obviously things like yoga, meditation, but there's also lots of kind of shorter mindfulness things that you can be doing, and that might just be like walking around the block without your phone for 5 minutes, or just breathing like 10 really long deep breaths. It's going to take you 1 minute, and just
Yeah,
all those things that will just kind of start to calm you. um, I think it also is a kind of a time where lots of things might be coming up from kind of your kind of earlier life as well. So things like coaching or talking therapy or CBT is really powerful. I do a modality called EFT, which is kind of tapping, which is a good way of kind of clearing stresses, kind of moving through kind of any kind of negativity or anxiety or stress I'm feeling, and kind of moving into kind of a new and more positive place. So yeah, I think it's very much about experimenting and finding out what works for you as well.
yeah. I think the one thing that the British Menopause Society actually recognises, because it's so hard to have an evidence base for many of these things. It doesn't mean they don't work, but it means we might not have that clinical evidence. Is about CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy. And actually, it's good that if we can try and learn some of those techniques for ourselves, not necessarily having to find a therapist to help us, but it is again that what works for you. And
Mm.
acupuncture, again, some small
Yeah.
studies have shown that can be fantastic, but it's not probably going to work for everybody. So everyone that's tuning in now, some will go acupuncture is brilliant, others didn't work. Aromatherapy, having a massage, how lovely. Oh no,
Mm.
don't want to. Swimming, open water, cold water, oh, I hate that, but others love it. So we have
Yeah.
to find something that works for us. While we're just finishing on those holistic hacks, I think exercise, it can be a dirty word during menopause. A third of women stop being physically active during this time, just when we need to do more for our muscles, our heart, our
Mm.
bones, everything. But how on earth, I understand. Suddenly you're saying, well, you ought to be, should be. I can't get up in the morning. I'm exhausted. So it's again finding some movement. Let's call it movement, not exercise,
Mm.
that works for you. Joining a group class to get your endorphins up, or having that walk. The one thing I'm really passionate about is that a lot of women, I think, don't do enough strength work, resistance
Yes.
work. It doesn't have to be at a gym, it doesn't have to be pumping iron, but I think because of what we do with our other company, Move It or Lose It, working with older adults, is seeing the impact of muscle loss, which starts in our 30s, unless we do something about it, is, even working with little weights or resistance bands, you can do it at work at your desk. So I think there's a lot of things that we can do that will help us. And that's only going to make our future health much better too. Now, we've been asked here, and we've got to get into this subject now, absolutely, is about, well, not sleeping, what supplements, what would you recommend for a good night's sleep? Oh, I wish I'd known back then what I know now. My life would have been an awful lot better. But we mentioned right at the start, it can be a minefield when you're looking at things that are being promoted to all of us, saying, oh, this is for menopause, but it was sold last month and it wasn't, you've just put the word menopause in it.
Mm.
When we at MenoHealth are approached all the time to promote products and services, which we've really resisted, because otherwise we could just be like advertising. But we were so taken with what you've done with and Valerie, because it's very different. When people say, oh, magnesium's great, but then there's about 5 different types. Well, which one, and does it work for me? And what about that iron? Oh no, that one's not absorbed, and you need vitamin C for that one to be. And then you're not a nutritionist. You think, where do I go? What shall I take? So tell us about what Valerie is and why it's so different.
Yeah, so like you say, it can be so confusing what to take, and lots of women have cupboards full of pills, which used to be me as well. So yeah, we wanted to create an all-in-one daily shot, basically, which is what we did when we kind of created our first product, which is Daily Essential. So it's 12 supplements in one. So you have one shot every day. This will last you a month. And we worked with a PhD scientist to develop the formulation to get the kind of the most important vitamins, minerals, botanicals, adaptogens into this, to really focus on what I suppose the top things that we were hearing from women, which is kind of that energy, that really extreme fatigue, kind of brain fog, kind of it's got ashwagandha in it, which really kind of helps from a calming perspective. Also mood regulation as well, where kind of PMT can be getting worse as well. Um, and again, a lot of products out there, they're all pills and powders, which is very hard for your body to absorb. So generally, if you take pills and powders, I mean, everyone hears about gut health, and then obviously, if you have got good gut health, it's harder to absorb. But then also, as you ingest things, it gets broken down by your digestive enzymes. So only about 10% will get into your bloodstream. So the products that we developed, it's called a liposomal nanotechnology, which means that all the nutrients are encapsulated in billions of little kind of like cells, which basically protects the nutrients as they travel through your digestive system and they get straight into your bloodstream. So you'll be absorbing about 98% of it, which means it works much more quickly, and you're not flushing your um, pills and powders down the toilet. We've all had one of those vitamins and then gone for a pee, and it's been like, oh, that's a bit neon.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's what's so interesting because absorption is the thing, isn't it? Even with, say, HRT patches, it's found that some women just aren't absorbing enough of their estrogen. It must be in a different way, how we're all different with our gut. And,
Yeah.
and I mean, yeah, even with the best will in the world, if we are very stressed, it's going to affect our gut health and metabolism. So if we're
Yeah.
not absorbing, as you say, oh, I'm taking my Vit D, my B12, I'm taking it, but how much of it is actually going in? So this is the liposomal shots that you have. And so is it just one dose a day that you have, and do you take it morning or night?
Yeah, so we have a daily one which you take in the morning. It's ideal to take in the morning because it sets you up for the day, and it also gives you kind of that natural energy. And I think a lot of women, when they're feeling really tired as well, they get reaching for the coffee, which then makes them more jittery and anxious.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's got a really good blend of kind of B6, B12, iron, vitamin D, which is really good for energy. And then
yeah.
the ashwagandha is also kind of very calming as well. So it's a really kind of good balance.
Mm.
And blend for kind of energy and calming, which is good. And yeah, we also have a new product which is for evening, which again, lots of women were saying really having trouble sleeping.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are kind of, lots of people are taking herbal teas, or um, some people are taking melatonin or sleeping tablets, but you can wake up feeling really, really groggy. So yeah, we created Evening Essential to take a couple of hours before you go to bed. So it has kind of a really calming effect in the evening, and a lot of women are reporting that they over time, they're starting to report deeper sleeps, which is really exciting. So lots of people are wearing wearables now, so they can everyone's obsessed with their sleep quality.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not something that's going to knock you out like
Yeah.
melatonin or kind of sleeping tablets, but it's gradually over time people are getting deeper sleep. Yeah, more
It's
REM,
everything.
which is perfect.
It's everything. I mean, yeah, I think, it was like a form of torture. When I
Yeah.
wasn't going a few weeks, I was going years without getting any good sleep. And all my friends,
Mm.
if we went for a weekend away, would sleep through the night. And I thought, they're odd, but no, it was me. But it's really interesting. I mean, at some point, I took antihistamines just to get a good night's sleep.
Mm.
Horrendous. Never do
Yeah.
it. Please don't. This is 20 years ago, but you're desperate. And so I
Yeah.
love what you were just saying. Now, somebody has asked about if they're on HRT. Is there any contraindications with the ashwagandha or any of the other elements of taking Valerie?
Yeah, it goes really well with HRT, which is why we developed it. So we have lots of people that don't want to take HRT, so take Valerie, but then lots of people that take it with HRT. So
Yeah.
yeah, people have really seen some amazing benefits of taking it with HRT as well.
That's fantastic because again, if you
Mm.
just go off and buy some things, you really need to check with your well, a pharmacist
Yeah,
most easily, because St John's Wort, for example, if you're taking other meds, you've just got to check in. So it's great to know you haven't got to worry about that. I'm not
yeah.
sure if you can answer this one. What about people who've undergone bariatric surgery? Do they have to have specific supplements?
Yeah, I think with everything, if anyone's got a medical condition, they need to go to their doctors. We can't advise against kind of different medical,
Yeah, yeah,
um, yeah, unfortunately, because yeah, everyone's unique, and your doctor will have your medical history as well to be able to take that into account. So
yeah,
I'd love to be
yeah,
able to answer, but I'm unable to,
absolutely.
I'm afraid.
I think as well, for someone who's had endometriosis, which is why I had my
Mm,
hysterectomy, which is so, so common, isn't it now? At the time, nobody had heard of it when I was 36, but yeah, at
yeah.
least we know a little bit more about it now. Um, Someone who's not been offered HRT, but is now getting fatigue, sleep difficulties, and hot sweats. So, they're saying, is this my new normal? What would you say?
Well, no, it doesn't have to be. But yeah, and this was I get it. This was me as well. That extreme fatigue and just not being able to get the day through the day. And I was like, I'm like late 30s. Like I'm too young. Like is this it? It's like I could barely get through the workday or have a social life.
Hmm.
And now I'm running, yeah, running a successful supplement brand. So
Yeah,
I now, from taking Valerie, have the energy to be able to get through the day without needing a nap, which is
yeah.
yeah, absolutely incredible. So
Okay. And could you take the daily essential one in the morning and the sleep one at
yeah.
night? Can you do both?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They
We're
go really
going
well
to be
together.
amazing, aren't we, if we're doing this? It's absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic. And I like the taste because someone else has asked, can you take it post menopause? Well, that's me by a long shot. What do you think, Liz?
Yeah, I mean, we developed it specifically for perimenopause, but we have lots of people that are postmenopausal because actually a lot of still people have the symptoms.
Yeah,
People still want more energy.
yeah,
Yeah, people still have brain fog. So yeah, if any of I suppose the benefits kind of resonate with you, it's great for immunity. It's great for thyroid function. It's good for bone health as well.
mm,
So yeah, there's lots of good things in there that definitely helps for
yeah.
postmenopause as well.
Absolutely. I'm sad to see someone says that they did what I did 20 years ago now with those
Oh no.
antihistamines because when you are sleep deprived, you're so desperate. You're looking for absolutely anything to help you get some good sleep. Well, let's see
Mm.
if your nighttime remedy could possibly help. Um, a question: do you offer consultations via Valerie about contraindications or taking other supplements?
No, we can't advise on that, I'm afraid. You have to be able to go to your kind of your own healthcare provider that will have your kind of medical history on that.
Yeah, yeah. But at least with this one, there isn't like with some of the other things that you can't take. Even grapefruit juice, you have to avoid if you're on certain blood thinners, don't you? So I think it's
Yeah.
always good to check if you have got a health condition for sure. And is there any issue with taking this if you are on a GLP-1? Again, is it back to each person's unique and there's not one size fits all?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's checking with your healthcare provider. I mean, I have to disclaimer all the time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
obviously everyone's unique. But yeah, I mean, particularly we have a lot of our community that are taking GLP-1 and then obviously then they're not eating as much. So really concerned about making sure they're still getting the essential kind of vitamins and minerals that they need. So yeah, we have a
Mm.
lot of our customers that are taking Valerie as well.
Yeah, I think it's even more important to
Yeah,
supplement, isn't it? You're just not going to get quite enough from your food.
yeah.
And I know someone has asked about should you go on HRT if you haven't got any symptoms? I mean, really, that's a unique choice to each person. But what's your
Mm.
point of view?
Yeah, and I think it's a conversation to again to have with your doctor, I think. And again, I suppose to your personal experience, really of actually you weren't on it, but actually thinking about that long-term bone health and osteoporosis, for example, then it's definitely something to consider.
Yeah,
And I think more and more studies are coming out about benefits of it as well. That's, I think, counteracting some of the scaremongering that's happened.
yeah.
So again, it goes back to those risks and benefits.
Mm. I
Risk
think
versus
I think
benefits.
I think the research is what's been missing. Women's health
Mm,
has been the poor relation for a long, long time, and
yeah.
now at last, there's a lot more to be done. But there's certain elements of what we go through in later life that where it could be that one day HRT is almost seen as the preventative that like statins are to prevent cholesterol going up and reduce the risk of heart attack and stroke. We're certainly not there yet. But I think we just don't quite know. And again, it is down to are you having tablets? Is it combined? Is it the transdermal route, and so on? Um, but another question here, and then we'll nearly at the end. I've got a thyroid problem and I'm on tablets. Can I take Valerie?
Again, I'm afraid it's back to the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, just to
Yeah.
double check, depending on that medication.
Yeah, I think if
Yeah,
anyone's concerned, yeah, about any kind of condition that they
yeah,
have,
yeah.
yeah, they need to check with their doctor.
Mm. I know as well. Someone's asked about when do you stop taking HRT? Um,
Mm,
and I know quite a few menopause doctors who say they will never stop taking
yeah.
it because they are such advocates. However, it is a back to that risks and benefits and looking
Mm,
at, all of the other things. I mean, physical activity reduces your risk of breast cancer with HRT by 7 women per thousand. So you think, oh, well, I've already counteracted my risk benefit because I'm going to be physically active and make sure that
mm,
I'm building that into my self care, for example. So I think it does depend as well on your doctor being happy to prescribe it, doesn't it? So I think there gets to a point where they think, well, you're probably not going to keep benefiting now. I think we've just got to look at all the new evidence that's coming in, and
mm.
we'll definitely try and keep you updated with all of this through MenoHealth and getting in touch with Valerie as well. So, Wiz, we have whizzed through it, haven't we? But it's
Yeah.
covered so much, and I think it's been really great. And we wish you all the luck with Valerie because it's the first time we've felt that there's something that's got a real evidence based
Mm.
behind it and is a different way of actually getting those really important elements that we need for better health. What's your last little top tip for everybody today?
Um, Yourself first. I
Yeah.
think it's certainly a phase of life where, as women, we often put everyone else first. But yeah, I think it's really about putting your life jacket on before you can then support other people. So, like a little reminder, what can you do for yourself this
Uh,
afternoon?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've just seen one quick question that had come in the Q&A, not the chat, and it's about panic attacks. I've
Mm,
just done a whole session on that, and 100%, this can be where panic attacks suddenly start, anxiety comes along. So my advice is don't suffer in silence. Go and find out what can be done. There are so many different elements, and we all need to just take control, put ourselves in the driving seat so we're not that unwilling passenger through menopause. And I'd love to finish on a high because there is life post menopause. It's always a little bit negative, isn't it, when you talk about all the symptoms?
yeah,
But life is good after
yeah.
menopause, I promise.
Definitely. And I see a really marked difference when I talk to people and say, oh, this is what I do, and it's a brand for perimenopause. And people that are in the depths of perimenopause are like, oh, and then I see so many women that are like, oh, it's finished, it's done, it's great.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a whole new like lease of life, I think. So
Absolutely.
it's
No more
brilliant.
painful periods is one massive advantage as well. It's amazing, yeah. But thank you so much, Wiz, and the thanks for coming in thick and fast from everybody, saying it's been so helpful and
Pleasure.
reassuring to know that they're not alone. Thank you to all of you for joining us, and we will be in touch after the webinar. Look out for more support from MenoHealth and from Valerie. So thank you, Wiz.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.